Good morning, good afternoon, guys. Welcome back to another Geek Tavern. As always, it's me, Shawn. I'm joined by Mike.
Hello.
And Aaron. And today we will be having a spoiler discussion of my recommendation this week. A Coen Brothers film by the title of Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Loosely based on the Odyssey story. Probably not very familiar with it.
No.
It's an old, Latin, Greek story about... Is that one Jason and the Argonauts?
I don't think it's Jason and the Argonauts.
Something similar to that, though. Yeah, but it takes place in... I don't think it's ever given the time. It's like right around the turning point of...
It's during the Depression.
Yeah, so it's
after the Depression.
1937.
Yeah.
Because they said that they're going to get 50 years tacked onto their sentence and they wouldn't get out till 1987.
Yeah.
So it takes place in 1937.
Yeah. So...
Good catch there.
Yeah. They're in Mississippi?
Mississippi.
And it takes place during this governor election taking place. It's kind of the backdrop of the film, and the story is about three prison inmates who escape to try and allegedly find a $1.2 million treasure that the lead prisoner, played by George Clooney of the name Everett, claims that he had stashed away at his house
from a money truck.
Yeah,
job
that he knocked over, and then he brings the two other guys with him, Pete and Delmar, played by John Turturro, and his name escapes me every single time.
Tim something Nelson.
Yeah,
Tim Blake Nelson.
Tim Blake Nelson.
From Holes.
Yes,
and The Incredible Hulk. And a lot of other Coen Brothers movies.
A lot of other great stuff. But so we follow their journey from escaping the chain gang and trying to make it back to Everett's house. Is pretty much how the story goes. Wait, I know you've seen the movie already. Before
only once, but
I had never watched it.
So what do you guys think of the movie?
Oh brother, this movie sucked.
Oh brother, this movie stinks.
No, it was actually a very, very good movie. Being my first ever watch of it, with a lot of Coen Brothers movies, I mean, there's not really any bad ones, really.
I don't know. Have you ever watched Hail Caesar?
Oh no, I have not watched it.
It's not one of their better ones.
I thought it was
bad,
good. But no, it was a very good movie.
I don't know if it was funnier the second time, but I forgot how funny.
Oh, it's very funny.
Yeah. I forgot how much humor was in it, but I also forgot how I don't know why, but I'm just lost at times. I'm like, why is this happening? But it's a part of the it's a thread throughout the whole movie because the blind guy on the railroad just shows up.
Yeah, he's an oracle.
Right.
Loosely based on the Odyssey. There is a blind soothsayer that tells them their future. So he's supposed to be an oracle of sorts because what he says in the beginning of the movie is what happens.
Right. Yeah. But it's just if you don't know anything, I don't know that story. It's just very odd because even when they come across the people, the religious people going to get baptized,
that's my favorite scene in the movie.
I mean, it's a great scene.
Yeah.
None of this that I'm going to be bringing up is bad. In fact, they're probably the best parts of the movie. But and then they randomly find the sirens.
Yeah.
Which not knowing much about the Odyssey, I was like, yeah, that seems like something that happens.
Yeah, they do get caught by sirens.
Does one get turned into a toad?
No. They don't.
That's my favorite line of the movie.
They don't love anybody up and turn them into a horny toad.
They done love Pete up and turn him into a horny toad.
That's my favorite part of the movie.
And then John Goodman, the Cyclops, kills Pete.
Throws him against the tree. There's a lot of animal violence, I'm sure.
Yeah, I had...
Shooting a fucking cow.
That was great, too.
I had brought that up to Aaron. I forgot whenever babyface George Nelson shoots the cows.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I forgot that it got pretty violent against an animal.
Oh, cows.
And then it gets hit by
I hate cows more than cockers.
Yeah.
And then they I mean, it was obviously like stunted.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
no
yeah.
animals are hurt in
Right.
the movie, but like the cow gets like run over by the police car. I was like, Jesus, that
I mean, that's a vicious scene,
it looked
actually.
convincing. Yeah, just like plowed over this cow.
I mean, they had to have had like a stuffed, maybe
Yeah.
not a stuffed cow, but like a prop cow.
Yeah, prop cow that they.
But like
yeah.
it looked good.
It probably was like CG walking in front of the car, and then they had the actual one there that got hit and
Yeah.
like flopped.
Oh yeah, probably something like that. Because at the end of the movie, there is that pretty blatantly not very good CG cow standing on top of the cotton roof,
Yeah.
based on what the Oracle had told them at the beginning of the story. But I like how all of our three main characters all are very distinct. Like Everett is just like this blowhard. He speaks in very flowery language to like
Oh, yeah.
exude this like false intelligence that he has.
Except we find out that he actually just is intelligent.
Well, yeah, he's a
Because-
smart character,
because
but
of the reason that he was put in jail was not because he was a criminal or anything like that. He's actually just an educated man who was practicing law without a license.
yeah, and Delmar is naive, but he's like kind-hearted, and Pete is like a very gruff exterior, but I don't know. He's also like kind of has a good soul to him,
Mhm.
despite their them being all criminals, but
Yeah.
they all look out for each other, and yeah, I just like that all of the characters are they have a good well-roundedness to their
Mhm.
troupe. But I think that this is probably George Clooney's best movie, in my opinion. I think that it's kind of similar how we were talking about last episode in Armageddon, where Bruce Willis is like, in a lot of movies, he's just doing Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
And it's like, in some movies, he's actually acting. In this movie, I feel like he's not George Clooney, like how he is in a lot of other movies. I actually feel like he's doing a really good job as an actor, and
Well,
I just really like him.
I'm gonna disagree with you. Batman Forever is his best role. No, I'm
No,
kidding.
that-
This is
that one
probably,
was
this is
Val
probably
Kilmer.
his best. Oh, right.
Batman
Batman
and
and Robin. That's right. It's so forgettable. I forgot what the title was.
But to your point, it is very disjointed, the plot, because a lot of things just kind of happen in the
Yeah.
movie. It's like in a typical
kind of
movie.
random.
Yeah, in a typical movie, like you just be like, well, why? Like why are these things happening? But that is also of the nature of the Odyssey, which is loosely adapted by it was, Greek stories. Things just kind of happen. So
Right.
so they just kind of like adapt. And there is a bit of a through line throughout all of it. I mean, they're on their journey to
Mhm.
the Everett's house and everything. So yeah, but upon rewatching it, I was like, it is a little all over. It's a little scattershotted, but it's
Yeah.
still really good.
Mhm.
Because it's like
It's definitely really good.
it's almost like an early adaptation of their newest movie, The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, where it's like an anthology, like a movie. It's like a bunch of different stories of different characters, but this one is just like a bunch of different stories, just has all of the same characters in each one.
Hmm.
So yeah, maybe that's where they got their inspiration for their most recent film, which is also very good, starring Tim Blake Nelson.
So honestly, one of my favorite parts of this movie is the musical numbers. Actually,
Oh, extremely good songs.
Like-
yeah.
I mean, even I'd never seen this movie until probably 2014 ish. So, but like I knew the song, the
The Soggy Bottom Boys.
yeah, because I mean that crap played all over like CMT and stuff back in the day. Back when they showed music videos on television. I even remember it from back then, so it's just super catchy and
Yeah.
whoever wrote it, I should have looked up who wrote it, but like whoever wrote it is a pretty good songwriter.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of humor in that scene too, bringing up the humor you mentioned whenever
Yeah.
so they walk in and it's a blind man who's running the radio, and he's like, oh, what does he say? He's like, we like old timey stuff, and then he asks if any of them are like black
Yeah.
people, and Everett's like, well, three of us are, except for our guitarist, which is like the opposite
It's
of what it is.
literally-
And then he's like, oh, I don't do Negro songs, and he's like, oh well, we were lying, we're actually white. And then there's like, well, except for our guitarist, who's black. And then they take advantage of him because after they sing the song, he's like, oh, come in and sign these papers, and I'll give you $10 a piece. And he's like, oh well, what was it? Aloysius, what was the names? He's like, oh well, Morton, Aloysius are just gonna have to sign X's because only 4 of us can write, and there's only like 4 of them in the booth, so
Yeah.
they're taking advantage of a blind man getting $20 extra from him. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. When they were recording the blind man, I don't know who he's played by.
Stephen Root.
Okay.
He was in
Yeah, you're gonna.
Boba
Yeah,
Fett.
I was gonna say you're probably gonna recognize him from the Book of Boba Fett. He was one of the.
I knew I kind of recognized him. I couldn't think of where
Yeah.
from.
Who's that dude who was hiking up the water prices? Or whatever?
Oh, okay. Like his facials, they're
Mhm.
like during the recording, it was hilarious.
Yeah, he's like.
Like he's humming very poorly along. Like,
Yeah. And that's that moment in the film is kind of it really changes the whole dynamic of the movie because they get like a base monetary payment for their work, so they go off and whatever. And there's a montage of where like their music is like blowing up all over the state, and they're like struggling to like traverse the state, and everybody's like, oh, well, sorry, we ran out of records. We got them this morning and they sold out. So it's kind of like a fun dichotomy that like their music is doing like gangbusters and they're just like struggling to get by. And the only reason that they even like really survive the end of the movie is because of the
fact that
they were
did
in the song.
music,
Yeah.
that's my favorite aspect of the music. The movie is
The
the
music.
it all paying off in the end.
Yeah.
Like they just randomly get up there and it wasn't even was it Everett? Is that his name?
Everett's George Clooney's
Yeah.
character.
Like it wasn't even him that initiated that song.
Yeah.
Like the other two, Pete and Delmar started it. He's like, oh shit, I gotta get up there.
Yeah, he's having like a serious conversation with his wife trying to win her back because he has like 6 daughters.
6, but there's a 7th that he didn't know about.
Yeah, 7 daughters. They're all daughters too. So he's like trying to become bona fide and win his wife back.
From Ed Begley III.
And so he's like having this serious conversation with her, and then as soon as the song starts, he's like, "Fuck this!" and he like stands up and starts singing the song. That turns the crowd all around.
I mean,
Which Shawn and I were remarking that almost everyone in the main cast has been a part of some type of superhero project. Because his wife is Elastigirl, and she was also in Batman vs. Superman.
Oh.
John Turturro, Pete was Carmine Falcone in the new Batman.
Oh, really?
Tim Blake Nelson was the leader in The Incredible Hulk, and George Clooney was Batman.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
But John Goodman,
I don't think
in any
he's been in
superhero stuff? No.
stuff yet. It's only a matter of time. It's hard.
gonna
I
say.
think it's hard for actors to escape that type of thing nowadays, considering the landscape of film right now. But
Yeah, there's a few that's like, I can't believe that hasn't happened.
Yeah.
Still hasn't happened for Tom Cruise.
I just thought it was funny that that John Goodman, when he's like telling them how to be Bible salesmen, he's like, "It's not about the money, it's about this," and he just goes crack and just like cracks Tim Blake Nelson, and Everett's just sitting there like eating still, like he's sitting there like, "Oh, what's he teaching us?" Like, and then he just cracks him.
I'm not understanding.
Yeah, he's like,
what was his name?
Big Dan.
Big Dan.
Big Dan.
It's like, Big Dan, I'm
Big
not
Dan
following.
Teague.
Yeah, it's funny. There's a lot of like religion, like subtext in the film. I mean, it's pretty overt in the baptism scene, obviously.
I mean, in that time, like back in what was it, 1937? We're guessing. Like, I mean, that would have been everything.
Yeah. And then obviously Big Dan be like I'm not even sure if he actually is a Bible salesman or if that was just like a he's just like taking advantage
of
a
con artist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
he was
like
literally like sitting there like waiting
Yeah.
to hear some rich person come in so he could
just like how Everett is kind of a con man.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's funny that like he is using like the word of the good book to like take advantage of these people, and then we find out later in the movie that he's a Klansman.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, oh, like this guy is a fucking monster.
and he's a Klansman with a very acute sense of smell.
Well,
Because, like they're walking up and he's like it turns and like because he just knows that they're there somehow.
Oh, and obviously Tommy selling his soul to the devil, and the devil being like a character
That
in the
Marshall
in the movie.
Right.
Yeah, so a lot of religious themes throughout the movie, which I don't know, I think enhance it quite a bit.
Yeah, no, it's definitely enjoyable.
I do love that where they pick him up and they're like, "Oh, where are you headed there, son?" He's like, "Oh, I had to meet at that crossroads so I could sell my soul to the devil." And this is after the baptism scene. He's like, "Oh, it's funny you should say that because Pete and Delmar here just been saved. You sell your soul to the devil. Look like I'm the only one who's unaffiliated."
George Clooney's delivery and like how his dialogue is written, like, but mainly the delivery, like, is so on point.
Oh yeah,
like
he's great. And
yeah, that's a detriment to his acting abilities. And I'm not even like a big George Clooney fan. Like,
yeah, like I said, I think that George Clooney just plays like George Clooney in a lot of because he's just kind of like the suave know-it-all type of character.
He's the 90s handsome guy, like,
and to a point that's kind of what Everett is. He's kind of like this. He's very conceited. He needs his Dapper Dan.
his Dapper Dan. I'm trying to think of the name for it.
Yeah, I like whenever like something happens and they're asleep and he goes, "My hair," like,
damn, we're in a tight spot.
That's what I was going to bring up. Damn. There's even a third time he says that. If you're not listening, like, you'll miss it.
Oh yeah,
because it's focused on the cops outside, and you just hear it in the background.
you hear him in the background going, "Dude, we're in a tight spot." His voice, like, if you were to play, like, I thought about this while watching the movie. If you were to play a line of Brad Pitt from Inglourious Bastards and play a line of George Clooney, I probably, aside from knowing the lines, I probably wouldn't be able to tell them apart.
Yeah, they do have a mountain region accent. I don't know if Mississippi is mountainous region or not. It seems kind of like a flat land.
But it's like the way that their voice is.
like their timbre.
Like you listen to their voices and you're like, they're very similar.
Yeah, there's just like a bunch of and their progression through all these things. It's just like so funny. I was laughing the one time. Aaron wasn't laughing too much throughout it, but whenever the like churchgoers are like, they just like show up in the woods and they start walking into the water, and Delmar has the gopher. He's like, "Gopher, Everett." He's just like spinning around. He's like, "Here for some gopher." He asks him like 4 times.
I'm gonna say he asked him 3 or 4 times.
It's so funny.
Yeah, and then like he's like focusing on that, and he's like, "No, Pete and I already ate one." He's like, "You can have this whole one."
Yeah. Everett's like, "Oh, no, thank you, Delmar.
A third isn't gonna do me
a third
much."
is only going to pique my appetite without subsiding it." He's like, "That's okay. Pete and I already had one." Yeah, I just love the dialogue in the movie.
Yeah.
It's very of the time, and it's very rich, and it's very layered too. Just like,
and the side story with Peter Griffin's dad running for
Papio
Daniel.
Yeah, Papio Daniel and I forget the other dude. The clan leader.
Homer Stokes.
Yeah, Homer Stokes. Yeah, it's funny
The
that
clan leader.
Literally the
so Papio Daniel is like, in the context of the film, he's like the establishment politician, and then Homer Stokes is supposed to be like the reformist, like the progressive candidate. And then we find out that the progressive candidate is secretly the Grand Wizard of this chapter of the Ku Klux Klan. And you're like, oh, that's not at all what you should be. So like,
And then he like literally makes it public when
Yeah.
he comes in. And he's like, these boys. How did he put it?
Integrated
Yeah,
or something like
these
that.
boys is integrated. And like everybody's like, what?
Yeah.
Well, why are you saying these things? And he's like, I'm part of a certain group.
A certain
It's like, why
secret
would you?
group.
Yeah, why would you announce that?
Yeah. And I don't think that was even what turned the crowd against him. It was basically just him saying, "This song is over," and they're like, "No!"
Yeah, it was only the song.
Then a bunch of guys bring in a tie and run him out on a rail.
Literally run him out of town on a rail.
Yeah.
And then Papio Daniel pardons them
Yeah.
as governor of the state.
And it works also because I forget the name of George Clooney's wife's like new suitor, but he is the one that's running Homer Stokes' campaign. And it's like, oh, I've been running the campaign of a racist person, so that like completely discredits him.
Yeah.
He's no longer bona fide.
Of course, it's kind of funny that, like, he's like, oh no, I've been and it's like, okay, but it's Mississippi in 1937.
Yeah.
Like, I really don't think, even now, I really don't think that much has changed.
Well, I'd like to think things have changed, but
I think you just don't hear about
maybe,
it. That's why
maybe that's it. But
everybody's like, there's too much social media, we gotta keep quiet.
yeah,
Why do you keep telling our girls I got run over by a train?
I did not get hit by a train.
Mama said you got run over by a train.
Yeah, that's a great scene whenever they think that Pete has been turned into a frog. And then Big Dan kills the frog, so they're like...
I mean, just palm squeezes it.
Yeah,
like,
throws it against the
throws
tree.
it against the tree.
And Everett is trying to like console Delmar. He's like, maybe it's a good thing that he got squished because he's a non-sentient being. You know, nobody wants. Maybe it's better that Pete wasn't a frog or whatever. And then they drive past him in the
Which
truck.
that confused me for a minute because I thought it was turning into the like Amazing Spider-Man of like seeing the ghost of fucking what's his face, Captain Stacy.
Yeah.
And I thought that that's what it was gonna be, like their guilt like coming back, and he's like, Pete got a brother, and he's like, no, I don't think so, and he's like, huh, and then like he's just like,
He
looking
must be
back
getting
at
to
him.
me.
He must be getting me. Well, we know that Pete wasn't transformed into a toad before that because that's the scene when the marshal is whipping him.
Yeah.
And he's gonna murder or he's gonna hang him, and then.
But I didn't know. Yeah, I thought that maybe he was going to be somewhere else, and I thought that maybe they were just like seeing him. Like, I didn't think that was actually him. I knew he was alive, but I didn't think he was like back on that chain.
Well, yeah, because it doesn't show that he's
What happened
captured
after,
and put back in chains.
And then they're watching the movie after Everett gets kicked out of the Piggly Wiggly or whatever because he had a fight with Waldrop, I think was his name.
Aldrich.
And
yeah.
and
He's like,
he's like kicking his ass, and he's like, "Stay out!" And he's all dejected because he's like gonna lose his wife, basically.
That was a very comedic, or a good comedic acting by George Clooney in the fight scene.
oh yeah.
Because he's super comedic
Yeah,
in his
Just
fight.
get
he's,
his ass
he's just like
handed to
hamming
him.
it up. He's
Yeah.
like looking around and everything.
Yeah.
They toss his ass out.
And then he, what does he tells Pete something about, like, he's like, yeah, we got kicked out. And he's like, was that just that location or was that all of them?
Yeah. But the chain gang gets like marched in to watch the movie, and he's like, "Do not seek the treasure."
And he's like saying it like loud. And
Yeah.
like, it's like they can't hear him. They're like, what? And he's like, do not seek the treasure.
We all stoic and creepy
was
about
a
it. too.
toad.
We thought you was a toad.
And he's like,
Do not seek the treasure.
We
Yeah.
thought you was a toad.
and he's, I love his like reaction. He's like,
It's like,
do not seek the treasure. Like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
yeah. And then they, Everett and Delmar break Pete out again, which that's a great scene because Everett's like standing on Delmar's shoulders and he's like, he's like breaking the things. He's like, I don't have much left. And he's like, that's it. And then
That's all I got.
that's all I got. And then they just fall down.
That's all I got.
But and then that's the scene where we really see like that Everett was just manipulating them because he got a letter from his wife
Right.
at the prison saying that she was going to be remarried, and like whenever he gets out, like don't even bother coming looking for me. He's like, I had to break out, so there isn't actually a treasure. And Pete is like, I only had 2 more weeks left on my sentence. Whenever they're gonna tack 50 years on my sentence, or I had 50 years because he got caught again. I had 50 years tack on my sentence. Whenever I get out, I'm gonna be 84 years old.
Yeah, because he said that he's like when I get out, it's gonna be 1987, and I was like, God damn.
I'm gonna be 84 years old, and Delmar's like,
I'll only beat the 82.
82. Yeah, he's just like happy still. And they fight.
Yeah.
And then that's when they stumble upon the Klan rally. And I brought this up to Aaron. I don't know if you noticed it. While also being like loosely based on the Odyssey, this scene is heavily inspired by The Wizard of Oz. I don't know if you've ever seen The Wizard of Oz.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So like the Klan people are supposed to be like the wicked witches, like those guys that are like, oh,
okay.
and then like the 3 of them infiltrate it, which is what the Tin Man, the Scarecrow, and the Lion do. They like take the.
I mean, I see the connections now. I
Yeah.
didn't put that
to
together,
rescue
but-
Dorothy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And then Big Dan Teague almost gets impaled by the flag.
I wrote a paper on it in college. Actually,
Yeah.
I wrote several papers about this movie in college.
But then they cut the tethers on the big burning cross, and it drops on Big Dan Teague,
Yeah.
killing him.
And it's funny that the little person that Homer Stokes is using in his like campaign is also like a Klan member.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's like he has a small Klan robe on. Goodness gracious.
Yeah. A minority against another minority, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I just always think of that. When somebody says anything about like Klan, like in movies, the only thing I think of is Django. Where they're complaining about the bags. My wife's all I hear is criticize.
My wife spent all night cutting holes in bags. I can't see fucking shit out of this thing.
Shit out of this thing.
Yeah, it's a good gag.
Oh yeah.
What's your favorite scene in the movie, Aaron?
My favorite scene in the movie was I'd say probably the climax of the movie, where Homer Stokes gets run out, and the resolution of everything.
Well, yeah, the true climax is whenever they're going to find Mrs. McGilligan, is that his name?
Yeah, her ring.
Her ring,
Mm.
and the marshal shows up, and
Which is just so fucking like odd because he's like, we ain't got radio out here.
yeah.
like-
Well, I mean, he's the devil, so
Well,
he's going to kill them for
Anyway,
their misgivings and everything. But he's like, we've been pardoned. The governor pardoned us himself. He's like, oh, I don't know anything about it. And he's just like gonna kill them.
Mm-hmm.
And then they all start like pleading to God, which is another thing. They're like literally praying for their lives.
Mm.
And then the dam
Yeah.
floods the entire valley, kills the devil and all that.
Well,
Well,
allegedly.
probably didn't kill.
Yeah.
It probably didn't kill
But they saved
anybody,
them.
but yeah, it
Yeah.
saved them.
yeah. And then
Which is kind of the downfall when you think about it, because he's like, we ain't got radio out here. And it's like, oh, so you didn't hear they were flooding?
Yeah.
Because Everett mentions that they were
Wow.
going to flood that valley.
Which is funny. So like they knew that they were going to flood the valley. Like that was the whole point of them getting to the house, like as quick as they could. Actually, they didn't even need to get to the house, did they? Because the whole reason that Everett broke them out was so that they could find his wife and reconnect with her.
And
But it just so happens that they are flooding the valley, and he's like, I guess he used that as in his story to like, oh, they're gonna flood the valley, and the money that I have hidden,
We gotta
it's gonna-
dig it
yeah,
up.
we gotta get to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny that they actually go to the house and then, but they're like going there knowing that the valley is going to be flooded, and they're not. There's like no sense of urgency in them. They're not like running to the house. They're like, I mean, I guess they're like calm because of like everything worked out for them so far before the marshal shows up. But yeah, they're about to be strung up, and then the valley gets flooded, and Pete and
I mean, they
Delmar-
would have been in and out if
Yeah.
the marshal wasn't there. So I guess it works out okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they probably could have gotten to like some type of higher ground
Yeah.
before it like actually started coming through.
Pete and Delmar are like, "We've been saved. It's a miracle." And Everett's like, "Oh, there's a reasonable explanation to this." And it's like after he was just on his knees praying to God that he was going to be a better person if he was allowed to be saved. Just like totally, he's just so full of shit.
I told you they was gonna flood this valley.
It's going to be a brand new South. They're going to what do you say? Electro energy this up. Hydroelectric
I mean,
up the entire valley.
I mean, everything you said
Happened.
happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to be
But-
living on a whole new grid. Yep. It's going to be brand new.
Everybody's gonna be connected or something. He
Yeah.
said something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. He's really the Oracle.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah. And the movie ends with him getting the wrong ring for his wife.
Yeah, and she's like, "That was my Aunt Helena's," or something like that. He's like, "What?" He's like, "You said it was in the roll top desk," and she goes, "No, I thought it was in the roll top desk."
Was going to the mattress, and then she started naming.
She starts naming off all the places.
It's like, oh,
and then she
that's under,
starts
what is
counting.
it, 6,000 feet of water.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's like, I don't care. It's like, I didn't put the water there. It's like,
Oh,
well,
yeah.
I know you didn't put the water there. But,
Yeah, he's like, "That's under 60 hectares of water."
yeah. So it'd be impossible for him to find anything.
And then
but-
she starts counting.
Yeah. And we end the movie with we end the movie how the movie started. It starts black and white, fades into color, and then it fades back into black and white with the Oracle seesawing his way away, and he's singing the same song that the little girl was singing. But yeah, great movie.
Let's talk about the post-credits scene.
Right.
He's like, "Oh, brother, where art thou?" too.
I didn't watch that.
No, it wasn't.
He's just making it up. Yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me, but I definitely did not.
I don't know. This is one of those movies where you don't want a sequel.
Oh yeah, it's very
Yeah.
well. Yeah, it's.
Has a beginning.
It
a
would
middle,
just
and
be
an end.
yeah.
I don't think that. I mean, aside from Fargo, the television series, I don't think that really any of the Coen brothers like movies can be like made into sequels or things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they make a lot of great stuff that's standalone shit, except for obviously Fargo, which is the exception. But I haven't watched any of the show. It's supposed to be really good.
Isn't Totoro in that too?
In Fargo, like the
No,
movie.
yeah, the movie.
Um,
Who's the killer?
I don't remember. I know Steve Buscemi is in it, and then Frances McDermott is in it, and
Somebody, whoever's with Buscemi is the one who like just mercilessly like kills.
yeah, I don't know if it's but John Turturro was in a lot of other Coen
Oh, yeah.
Brothers
Oh,
movies.
no, yeah.
He was in Miller's Crossing. He
Big
was
Lebowski.
yeah, The Big Lebowski and other shit like that. The Coen Brothers are similar to Quentin Tarantino, where they have like this pool of actors that
That
they
they
use,
use, yeah.
and then they'll like obviously get new people and everything like that too. But yeah,
But they're just like there's a staple
yeah.
actors.
If they have a chance to
Yeah.
like drop them in, then they will. Because like Stephen Root's in the newest, he's in the Ballad of Buster Scruggs.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's right.
He's the dude with the pans all over him.
Headshot. Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else to say about the movie?
Yeah, it was very, very good.
Yeah, it was really good. This was one of my favorite movies. It's I saw it for the first time in some formative years, and I was just like really connected with it. It's definitely in one of it's one of my top 5 favorite movies of all time. So if I rate it, I'll go ahead and rate first. I'll give it like a 9.5 out of 10. I don't think there's very much wrong with the movie. I think it's almost perfect. So
I mean, that's fair enough. I don't hold it anywhere near and dear like
Sure.
you do, obviously, but I mean, it's a solid movie. I'll give it a 8 out of 10.
I'm gonna give it a 9. It's damn near perfect.
yeah, it's so good.
Music, cinematography, acting, like there was nothing lacking in this movie at all.
Yeah, and the fact that the Coen brothers took like an ancient text and like successfully adapted it
Yeah,
to, and it's still a period piece too. This came out in like
2000.
2000.
2000.
So like it's still like much a period piece. So they like took the story and like enhanced it by a couple thousand years,
Yeah,
but it's still
I want to know because I said it to Shawn. Pappy O'Daniel, have you ever watched Elmo Saves Christmas?
Oh God, probably back in the day.
He played Santa Claus in it.
Okay.
Because, like, I knew the voice, and I looked up who played Peter Griffin's dad, and I was like, oh, it's him. I was like, because the voice is just exactly the same.
Yeah.
And then I was looking at him, and I'm like, he looks familiar. And I was like, who played Santa Claus in Elmo Saves Christmas? And I was like, it's him! Like, it was just a weird thing that
I
I was
feel
like,
like
oh, okay, yeah, I know him.
I've probably seen it. I mean, my sister was pretty big into Elmo. So, like, that's where I remember Elmo mostly from.
That was like a staple that we watched every Christmas, was
Yeah.
Elmo Saves Christmas. And I was like, oh, yeah, I was like, I do know him.
All right. Well, we have another recommendation coming for us for next episode.
That's me.
It is your turn.
So, I'm going to get... This has been in the back of my mind ever since The Condemned, which was like...
It was like the second.
That was like
the
the second or
ago.
third.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that was like the second, like, suggestion that we.
Yeah, it was pretty early.
2 years ago.
Yeah,
pretty much.
And that's what actually made me think of it was Facebook memories of that episode.
Okay.
It's another Steve Austin movie. It's called Damage from 2009.
All right.
Is this another like WWE production?
I don't think this one is tied to WWE.
I've heard of it.
I don't know offhand. I don't know if it's going to tell me on here.
Does it have, help me out here, X-Men. Xavier's brother.
No. No, this isn't tied to The Condemned.
Why can't I think of his fucking name?
I don't know.
Helmet.
Are you talking about the Juggernaut?
Juggernaut, yeah.
Benny Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to think.
Yeah, he was...
Like,
Jesus
wow.
Christ.
No,
Is the
It seems
Juggernaut
like I've got
actually-
some brain damage.
Is the Juggernaut actually Charles Xavier's brother?
wait.
I think
Like
he
that,
is.
they say that in Deadpool too, but
Yeah.
I don't know if that's like actually true.
I think it is.
Huh.
I think in one of the arcs
Yeah,
he is.
because I literally had just watched the Last Stand like last
Okay.
weekend, so I'm familiar with the Juggernaut's in that movie, and he's not related to Charles at all.
Not in that movie,
Yeah,
no.
But yeah,
I can't speak for like the cartoon
Yeah.
or the
Which,
comic.
doesn't he say in Deadpool 2 that he wears the helmet, so
yeah. So
he
that
can't read
Charles,
his
yeah,
mind.
I mean that's what they say in Deadpool too.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that that's like taken from some comic line.
it's some canonical
Yeah.
piece.
Yeah.
But
I think the only other notable person in this movie, from my knowledge, would be, and I wouldn't know his name, Walton Goggins.
Walton
Oh, Walton
Goggins.
Goggins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
He's probably plays fucking nobody in the movie though.
Oh no, he's like prominent.
Okay.
Just
When
like
did the
Steve
movie
Austin.
come out?
2000.
2009.
Okay, so this is like right before Justified.
Yeah, before his
So, like-
career really skyrocketed.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't well known then. I've seen him obviously pop up
Oh,
in
yeah.
other things since then.
He's
but-
in a shit ton of stuff now.
yeah.
Well, all right. If you don't want to be spoiled for, I forget the movie already.
Damaged.
Make sure to watch it before next episode.
Seems I'm not the only one with brain damage today.
I hope you enjoyed our conversation about Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? I know we sure enjoyed having it. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff, guys, and we'll catch you in the next episode. Later.